Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are talking dark marks. That's right, we're talking brown spots left after pimples, sun damage, melasma, the brown patches that can be on your face after pregnancy. We're talking about it all, and it can be a real struggle to treat that because it takes a lot of patience and a real targeted, consistent approach, and that's what today's video is all about. And if you love videos just like this with lots of advice, product recommendations, and ingredient information, please consider hitting subscribe to my channel anytime during this video if it helps you out at all, and you can see some more videos just like this from me. So today I'm going to be talking about 4 different ingredients to look out for depending on your different dark mark concerns, the ones that can be really effective for you. And of course I've got product recommendations. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the video, give it a big thumbs up, and let's get started. So the first ingredient I want to talk about is Tranexamic Acid. It's just great for general brightening, but it excels in a couple of particular areas, especially with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. That's the dark mark that you get after your pimple. It's also great for melasma, discoloration associated with hormone changes and pregnancy. So it can work for a lot of different instances, and it has been shown to be particularly effective for those with darker skin tones, where fading dark marks can be a real challenge. This could be the ingredient for you. Now, Tranexamic Acid works really well on its own, and I think seeking out individual ingredients is great, but you know, like I always say, formulation really plays into it, and brightening ingredients tend to work well in pairs. They tend to work well with boosters. So Tranexamic Acid is an ingredient that works particularly well with vitamin C and niacinamide. So the product I want to talk about is the Paula's Choice Discoloration Repair Serum. This contains 3% of tranexamic acid, 5% of niacinamide, an ingredient we're going to get to a little bit deeper in the video, so definitely stay tuned. And this also has 0.5% of bakuchiol. I'm never sure if I'm saying that right, but this is also another hot ingredient that has gotten a lot of interest in the last couple of years, especially for its ability to brighten the skin. So the texture of this is almost like a milky, almost light emulsion type of texture. It spreads across the skin really nicely and really lightly, a very thin layer. There's just a touch of moisture to this, but it's not like really rich. It's not like overly moisturizing. It's just a really nice, pleasant texture that's going to be easy to layer, I think, really for any skin type. Now, I sort of likened this to a chemical exfoliant. It doesn't actually exfoliate your skin, but you should treat this ingredient like you would an exfoliating or a retinol type of ingredient, because it can be a little bit, let's just say, stimulating on the skin. You could get a little bit of irritation from this, especially because we've got a high amount of niacinamide in here plus the tranexamic acid. You definitely want to start slow with a product like this. Paula's Choice actually recommends just going 3 days a week to get your skin accustomed to this, and then you can work your skin up as it adjusts. But definitely give yourself an adjustment period with this type of product because it can be, yeah, pretty strong on the skin. So I've been using this for just about a month now, and I do stick to that like 2 to 3 days a week schedule. That's just personally what works for me and all the other products that I'm using. And I do have sensitive skin. You know me, I'm a low and slow kind of girl, and so that's what works for me. Now, I definitely do need to keep going with this product. They do recommend about 8 to 12 weeks to see full results. But I have to say, even after just 2 weeks of using this, I am seeing what it's doing on my skin. I'm seeing it improve my dark marks, especially my post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I got some really, it was like 2 really bad pimples, like of course back to back, really inflamed, and of course, you know, they left real dark marks on my face, on my forehead, and on the side of my cheek, and I've just been like working so hard to fade them because they were just so obvious. And this product within 2 weeks has done more for those marks than any of my other brightening products. Like, I have been so amazed by this. Like, I cannot wait to like go further with this to really see what it can do for my skin, but it's really, really promising and fast, at least for me personally, results that I've gotten on this. So again, you know, I really recommend this for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, for sun damage, melasma, darker skin tones. And I think that if you have some like hyperpigmentation from pimples that are a little bit older, that have been a little bit more stubborn to fade, maybe it's not working with niacinamide or other brightening ingredients, I think you should maybe look into tranexamic acid, maybe even this product, because I do think that this is pretty powerful and it might actually get you some progress on those older hyperpigmentation marks. Some alternative product recommendations for you include the Inkey List Tranexamic Acid Night Treatment. This takes tranexamic acid and marries it with a vitamin C derivative, so we've got double the brightening power here. You can also consider Good Molecules Discoloration Serum. This marries 4% of niacinamide with a tranexamic acid derivative. So the number 2 ingredient is Arbutin. Now this is particularly effective for helping to fade brown spots and discoloration. Now Arbutin works a little bit differently than a more famous brightening ingredient, niacinamide. And in fact, a lot of people do report that Arbutin seems to work better for them or faster for them than niacinamide does. And that's because Arbutin works differently than niacinamide. It works to stop the melanin forming activity of an enzyme called tyrosinase. And that actually means that it's working on a different part of the discoloration, different than like vitamin C or niacinamide. So that's why Arbutin sometimes can work better for some people who have not seen success with niacinamide. But that also means that Arbutin is a worthy pair with vitamin C and niacinamide, because when you have those two different types of ingredients working on the discoloration in a different kind of strategy all at the same time, well, wow, you're definitely going to see some big results then. Product recommendations include Good Molecules Daily Brightening Serum. This has a high amount of Arbutin combined with glycerin and 3 types of hyaluronic acid. And just based on that ingredients list, you can tell this is going to have a hydrating texture, and it does. It's a nice light gel type of texture, really good absorbency into the skin. It wears really light and breathable. And I was really surprised to find that this was not tacky or sticky on my skin the first time I used it last year. I was like, wow, this is actually a really pleasant texture, especially for something that is kind of like one ingredient focused at a really affordable price point. Sometimes those textures aren't super elegant. This is a really nice one to work with. And I think this is a great serum to pick up if you're really curious about what Arbutin can do for you. Because if you notice, there's not really any other brightening agents in this formula. It really is just about hydrating, plumping the skin, and getting lots of good brightening Arbutin into it. So this is a great way to isolate the ingredient and see what it can do for your dark marks. It's definitely effective. Arbutin is an ingredient that I singled out many, many years ago, especially when I was first starting with Asian beauty products, because Arbutin was a lot more common in Asian beauty products. I'm talking like 10 years ago. And I would notice that the products with Arbutin actually helped with my uneven skin tone a lot more than niacinamide did. So that was the first time I really discovered and started to love the ingredient, because it was working a little bit differently, a little bit better for my skin at the time. I think that this is a really good one to explore if you do have an uneven skin tone, if you are working on hyperpigmentation. This is another one where you just want to kind of like add it into your skincare routine a couple nights a week, just see how your skin does and then work yourself up from there. And this is something that you could work yourself up to using daily if your skin allows you to. Some other products with Arbutin that you might consider are from TM. This is their Arbutin blending powder that contains 5% of Arbutin plus niacinamide. Now this is an interesting product because it's completely dry, it's powder form, and you can just sprinkle this right into your favorite toners or serums, mix it together, and all of a sudden you've got a brightening boost to any product that you're applying to your skin. I always find the blending powders like a really fun kind of format, and actually like a really effortless way to get like an active ingredient into like a toner or a serum. You might also consider the TM Vita B3 Source Serum. Now this is a little bit more focused on niacinamide because it contains 10% of niacinamide, but it's being boosted by 2% of Arbutin. Now I'm going to talk about this product in depth in just a second when we get onto ingredient number 3, niacinamide. So niacinamide definitely brightens the skin, but it's a true multitasking ingredient with collagen stimulating benefits. It also has a great anti anti-inflammation benefit. It can help to hydrate the skin. It can help to support your skin's moisture barrier, and it also has sebum regulating properties, so it actually is great for acne care as well. When you're looking for niacinamide products that brighten the skin, you want to look for niacinamide at 2% and higher. That's going to be the really effective amount to bring the benefits of brightening out in niacinamide. Just remember, the higher we start to go up in percentages, the more likely irritation is to occur. So I always recommend start low and slow. Now, niacinamide is a true team player when it comes to ingredient combinations. I mean, it pretty much works with everything. And that's why we see it in so many different skincare products. It pops up in places that we don't always expect it to, because it just works so well with other ingredients. Some of the favorite pairs for niacinamide include vitamin C and Arbutin. Now you might be like, vitamin C, I thought that and niacinamide don't work together. That's not really true. That's based on a study all the way back in the 1960s. That's been debunked many times. And in fact, a lot of the vitamin C products that are on the market today are actually already formulated with niacinamide in them. So rest assured that you're not going to like blow up your skin or something if you combine these two ingredients. So niacinamide is really good for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. It can help with just a general discoloration on the skin. I do believe niacinamide can help with sun damage, but I think that the two ingredients we talked about earlier, tranexamic acid and Arbutin, do tend to work on sun-related damage a little bit better. Niacinamide may be a little bit more of a booster in your brightening strategy if that describes your dark marks. But I think for dark marks that are left, especially after acne, niacinamide is a really good route for you, because remember when I talked about the other benefits of niacinamide, it has some sebum regulating properties. It can actually help in your overall anti-acne strategy, and that's where the first product recommendation comes in. It's that Vita B3 source serum from TM. So 10% of niacinamide and 2% of Arbutin. And I find that this is a really great for, like I said, acne prone and oily skin, because it actually helps with brightening for sure on the skin. You will notice that immediately. But I do think that this has some great benefits, especially for pore refinement. You can make your pores look a little bit cleaner, a little bit tighter, a little bit more refined, and it does have some sebum controlling properties to it as well. Now, you may be familiar with higher percentages of niacinamide having kind of weird textures. I've definitely encountered this through all of the product testing that I've done over the years. Higher percentages of niacinamide can have like an oily type of feel to it, like really like strangely oily and rich. Some are very sticky and really tacky on the skin. This is not. This is a really nice texture. I do feel a little bit of like the niacinamide-ness in this, but it's actually really pleasant. Like it's just got a little bit of a slip to it, just a little balanced, but it's not oily. It's not greasy. It's not rich. It's got really good absorbency into the skin, and your fingers are not gonna stick to your skin afterwards because it just doesn't have that tack. It's just one of the most pleasant, high percentage niacinamide textures that I've come across, and that's why I'm always raving about this product. But niacinamide, like we talked about earlier, it's also a great anti-aging ingredient. So if you're looking to brighten up your skin, maybe even out your complexion, work on some hyperpigmentation, but you're also looking to plump up the skin, stimulate some collagen, maybe work on fine lines and wrinkles, then you should definitely be looking for niacinamide around the 5% mark. That's where the collagen stimulating benefits really start to come out. Plus we also have brightening. Plus we also have barrier support, which is also a very important, approach to your anti-aging or well-aging strategy. So the product that I have for you is the Cosrx Advanced Snail Radiance Dual Essence. So this combines 74% of snail secretion with 5% of niacinamide, and it's actually a dual chamber essence. So we have the snail essence that you might already be familiar with from the Cosrx original snail essence, and then we've got this like niacinamide chamber, which is kind of like silky. It's not super heavy, but there's a little bit of balancing moisture to this. It's a little silky. It really marries well with the snail, and it super plumps up your skin. It really hydrates hydrates it, plumps it, makes it feel all juicy, balanced, but not super heavy or greasy. It feels amazing on the skin. This was like a love at first use type of product. I put it on my skin. I was like, wow, this feels great. A really effective amount of niacinamide with Snail. Like, definitely a really nice one to have in your arsenal if you're really trying to target brightening, but also well-aging benefits. Now let's talk about another multitasking brightening ingredient, and that's azelaic acid, one of my favorites. It's got multiple benefits for the skin, starting with its ability to regulate skin cells, and that's going to be particularly helpful if you do suffer with congestion, clogged pores, or acne, because this ingredient can not only help clear out the congestion that you already have, but with regular use it can actually help prevent those clogs from reforming, which is really, really helpful. It's also a great anti-inflammation ingredient. It can even help to soothe the inflammation that causes rosacea flare-ups. It's an antibacterial ingredient, and of course it has brightening benefits. Now azelaic acid is really going to be the one that you're going to look for if you're somebody kind of like me who does get congestion. Maybe you get the inflamed pimples and then afterwards you get the dark mark. So you're really dealing with the congestion, you're dealing with the clogged pores, you're dealing with the pimples and acne, and at the same time you're trying to fade the dark marks that were left from the older pimples and clogged pores, right? If that is you, this is an ingredient that you should really seriously consider, because like I said, this is hitting a lot of different things all at once. It's going to take care of your congestion that you have now. It's going to help prevent more congestion in the future. It's going to work on brightening. And if you're someone like me where you get congestion, it doesn't always turn into a pimple, but sometimes it does, the antibacterial benefits here are really going to help you as well. So you can see why I like it, and that's definitely why I recommend it for those who are in kind of an active cycle of pimples and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. Now I just did an in-depth this or that azelaic acid battle between Paula's Choice and The Ordinary, so if you want to go a little bit deeper, I would recommend checking out that video. I'll link it. I think it goes right up here. I'll link it right up here for you and in the info box. But one of the products that I do want to recommend is the Paula's Choice 10% azelaic acid booster. We've got 10% of azelaic acid plus licorice root, which is a great extract to kind of boost the brightening benefits. And we also have salicylic acid. So this is going to be really great, like I said before, if you're suffering with congestion. You could also consider The Ordinary, which has 10% of azelaic acid. Now, another azelaic acid product I personally have not tried, but I always hear about it in my comment section whenever I talk about azelaic acid, so I think it is worth mentioning, is the Baha 10% azelaic acid serum. So just a quick TLDR on those ingredients. Now, if you are somebody looking to work on sun damage, melasma, if you are somebody who has a darker skin tone and is really struggling to effectively fade dark marks, tranexamic acid is the one that you want to look at. If you're working on sun damage and just general discoloration on the skin and niacinamide's not been super successful for you in the past, look at Arbutin. Now, if you are somebody who's looking for just general brightening or help working on hyperpigmentation on the skin, especially after acne, niacinamide can be a really good one to look at. If you're somebody who is looking for just general brightening and some well-aging or anti-aging benefits, look for 5% of niacinamide. And if you're somebody who is in a constant cycle of congestion, pimples, hyperpigmentation, more pimples, more dark marks, azelaic acid could be the all-in-one ingredient for you. Dark marks are a pain, but hopefully those tips and recommendations make you feel a little bit more confident at targeting your brightening strategy for your particular dark marks. So let me know if the video was helpful to you, and let me know your favorite brightening products in the comment box below. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do consider hitting subscribe. I release lots of new skincare content throughout the week, so don't forget to turn on notifications so you're never out of the loop. I hope you guys are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are, and I can't wait for you to go out and conquer this day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.